welcome back. It's been a little while, hasn't it? I'm still Bishop Peter Fox, and I'm still coming to you on behalf of St Edward's, Castle Donington. So really nice to see you. Now listen, for any of my Jewish friends out there, could I just say Happy Hanukkah, or if you'll forgive the pronunciation, Hag Hanukkah Sameach, because this time of year, for Jewish people, it's the festival of Hanukkah. It's all about light and darkness, about the rededication of the temple. So in Jewish homes, right across the world, they'll have one of these. It's called a Hanukkah. It's a sort of candlestick. It's an 8-branched candlestick. 8 days, one candle for every day of Hanukkah, plus one in the middle. This is the servant or Shemesh candle, and this is the one that's used to light all the others. So today, for instance, I mean we're something round about, as I've come to today, it's actually round about the 5th day of Hanukkah. So you'd light 5 candles, or use your servant candle to light 5 of the others, like that. They always put the candlestick in the window so that people outside can see and be reminded that it's this very special and holy time for Jewish people, Hanukkah. It's all about light and darkness. I mean, we're all lighting candles at this time of year. I've a sneaking suspicion that we Christians owe our custom of lighting an Advent wreath to Hanukkah. Over at St Edward's, Castle Donington, we usually have, like a lot of churches do, what we call an Advent wreath or a crown. That's got just 5 candles. It's got its 4 candles, one for every Sunday going through Advent, and it has one more candle, like our servant candle here, which goes right in the middle, and that's the Christ light. Another kind of servant candle, you might think. You know, we Christians, a lot of the things we do have links right back through the ages to Judaism, to Jewish people. And some of the customs we follow are sort of an echo of things that were done a long time ago in the temple and are still being done by Jewish people to this day. In fact, you wouldn't have had any kind of a Christian church if it hadn't been for Judaism, which is something we really ought to remember a little more than we do. We Christians really have no excuse for anti-Semitism. I mean, after all, Jesus was Jewish. So I think that's something we should celebrate, that link. God knows the world is divided enough already. Let's try and make links where we can across those boundaries and barriers of religion. There shouldn't be boundaries or barriers at all, really. There should be opportunities. Light and darkness. That's something any of us can understand, isn't it? For Christian people, the whole thing begins with our Jewish roots, whether we like it or not. In fact, for us, the whole Christmas story began with a little Yiddish girl, called Miriam. We call her Mary, but that was her name, Miriam. It all began with this little young Jewish lady, Miriam, becoming the mother of Jesus himself. So if it hadn't been for that young Jewish woman, there'd have been no Christmas story. I mean, she gave us baby Jesus. Now before a whole lot of goy Christians out there start writing in and saying, no, this isn't right. Jesus was there in the beginning, you know, in the beginning was the world and all that. Well, yes, of course, yes. But it was Mary who gave birth to Jesus. So for Mary Jesus was her little boy. You know, he was the little boy that she gave birth to, that she cuddled, she changed the nappies for. Jesus was her little boy, and she loved him. More than any other person, really, in history. She loved him. She loved him by making sure that he had food to eat, and was worried in case he wasn't eating enough, and worried in case he was working too hard, and worried about her boy and what would happen to him. Miriam, loved Jesus more than you or I ever could. It was her little boy. When Jesus was a little boy growing up, like any other Jewish child, he learned his first prayers at his mother's knee from this Miriam. She was the one who dressed him up and tidied him up, ready for shul, not school, but synagogue. She was the one who made sure that he washed behind his ears and put on his best kitta. So I've got a lot of time for Mary. I really like Mary. I mean, for me, she's never been, you know, up on a pedestal wearing a crown. For me, she's just a tough little Jewish woman, strong in faith, not particularly special in any way of being brighter or anything like that than other people, just an ordinary Jewish girl in so many ways, but with the courage of a lion. So I often think of Mary, well, we all do, I suppose, at this time of year, but for me this is not a Mary on a pedestal. It's a Mary any boy would be proud to have as his mother. Hail Mary, full of grace, indeed. So maybe at Christmas time, or approaching Christmas time, especially as we celebrate Hanukkah again, we Christians shouldn't be too proud, you know, to own our debt to Jewishness, the Jewishness of Jesus and the Jewishness of his mother. Let's just remember there's no excuse for a Christian to have any anti-Semitism at all. So let's just get on with it. Light the candles on our Advent wreath and say, thank God for Mary. God bless. Hag Hanukkah Sameach.